I'm Catherine, and thanks for joining me at Air Necessities, the podcast that turns complex financial topics into real talk for Gen X, Millennial, and Gen Z inheritors. Each episode of this podcast, I break down a different topic related to generational wealth and inheritance. My goal is that you can stop asking Google or ChatGPT what to do with your money and come here instead for real talk, real advice, and real solutions that you can start implementing in your life today. On today's episode of the podcast, I am diving into why so many people are getting fleeced by their financial advisors. Specifically, if you have a financial advisor who you're paying 1% to manage your assets and all they're doing is providing investment management, you are missing out on a huge amount of value. And honestly, you are way overpaying for what they're actually doing for you. Before I dive into it, if you're enjoying Air Necessities and want to help support the show, I would be so appreciative if you could leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever. It hugely helps the show, and more importantly, it helps me connect with and support more inheritors like you. Now, let's get into why you're paying your financial advisor too much money. I want you to think of this like a 4-lane highway, okay? On the left lane, you have advisors who are only providing investment management. It is clogged up in there. Tons of traffic, tons of people. Next lane over, you have advisors that are providing investment management, but they also offer some impact investing, some values-aligned, socially responsible investing. There's still a lot of cars in this lane, right? But it's significantly less crowded. You're not in gridlock, you're moving along at a good clip, but there's still a lot of people there. Next lane over, you have advisors who offer full investment management with impact, ESG, socially responsible options, and full financial planning. So they're not just managing your money, they're helping you evaluate every decision related to your financial life. They're helping you build a path forward and helping support you as you reach your life and your financial goals. There's still some cars in this lane, but it's pretty empty. We're not talking about 5 a.m. on Sunday morning empty, but you're cruising along at a good clip and you're not thinking about traffic. But then I want to take you to this 4th lane over here, which is HOV, Sunday morning, 5 a.m. This is advisors who offer full service investment management with those impact, ESG, and socially responsible options, full financial planning, every area of your money life. Nothing is off limits, no question too small, nothing we can't work together to get you the information you need to make a decision, and who also offer tax planning throughout the year. So you don't need to make a whole bunch of decisions and then I wonder what I'm going to be paying in April. And you don't need to be the sole person who's responsible for reminding your CPA what they need to get done, or for communicating with someone who, when they give you advice, you don't really understand. So this right lane all the way over here is where Sunnybranch sits. It's pretty simple, right? There are very few firms that offer the level of service that Sunnybranch offers and who give you such a high amount of individualized attention as a client. Sunnybranch is a very boutique firm. I prefer to go really deep with fewer clients rather than having the 80 or 90 clients that most financial advisors have. Okay, whatever, there's 4 lanes, your lane is best, I get it, you're a financial advisor, you're trying to sell me, right? Okay, but now I'm gonna blow your mind because all those 4 lanes, they all cost you exactly the same thing. In that left lane where you're only getting investment management, you're paying 1%. In the next lane where you're getting investment management with impact, you're paying 1%. That 3rd lane, investment management with income and financial planning, you're paying 1%. Or more. 1% is sort of a base fee. And then in this lane that I'm over in Sunnybranch, where there really isn't a whole lot of traffic, you're paying 1%. If you're interested in my full fee schedule, it's disclosed in my ADV, all that. But think about the difference in services that you are getting between that left lane and that right lane. And then think about the fact that we are charging exactly the same amount of money if we're managing your assets. That, to me, is crazy. And that's what a lot of people who work with these bigger banks, if you are with Edward Jones, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Chase, Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley, Schwab, Fidelity, and you're paying them 1%, you're paying a lot of money and you are not getting a lot of value relative to what you could be getting in the marketplace. Sunnybranch justifies that fee by the amount of services and the value and the quality of those services that we provide. To dive into that a little bit deeper, I want to give you an overview of what Sunnybranch's client service calendar actually looks like. I say that I'm over here in this right lane with tax planning and impact investing and financial planning and all these bells and whistles, right? Like, what does that actually mean? What are you getting as a Sunnybranch client? I'm going to drop a link to Sunnybranch's client service calendar in the show notes, because that is what I am looking at right now. Is I'm literally looking at this client service calendar that I have at Sunnybranch, and I'm walking you through, if you're a Sunnybranch wealth management client, what you get for that fee that you pay. And just to clarify, this is the minimum amount of service that you get. There's no cap on this. And oftentimes financial planning becomes most valuable when things in our life gets crazy, right? When you're trying to buy a house when you're not going to sell the house for another year, or you just inherited and you needed help with the estate settlement process. There are a million things that can happen in our lives that sit on top of this client service calendar, but this is the base that Sunnybranch clients can expect in a year when they don't have a whole lot of other stuff going on the financial planning side. The client service calendar is split into 3 sections. So you have a beginning of the year winter section, a spring summer section, and then an end of year fall section, October, November, December. The goal is that clients should be hearing from me basically every 4 to 6 weeks with an offer of services. And it might be that all of these services are not relevant to all clients, but you never know when things come up and when things become valuable. First off, in January, all wealth management clients receive a tax letter. This is a summary of all of the relevant tax transactions that happened for you in the prior calendar year. Everything that I have visibility into, if you gave stocks to charity, if you made a gift to someone, if you realized capital gains, everything that I know about goes on this letter. And in addition to that summary, it also summarizes all of the forms that, based on my knowledge, you should expect to receive and that you'll have to pass along to your tax preparer. This letter goes to you to help you with filling out your organizer and gathering documents, so there's one less mental piece to sit in your brain, and it also goes to your CPA so that they have a jump start on preparing your return, and if there's anything that you left out of the organizer, they know about it, so it's not missing from your tax return. The next piece that Sunnybranch clients get is an annual report. This report I'm so proud of. I worked so hard on it, iterating new versions over the last 3 years. The report starts with a full progress report. Everything that we tackled in the previous year and everything that's on my agenda to work with you in the coming year. So that you know, whoa, I actually did a lot last year, and you can see everything that I have on the horizon for our work in the next 12 months. Also, it's a full performance summary of how your investment accounts did in the previous year. Okay, table stakes, not that exciting. It's a balance sheet and net worth snapshot, so that every year you can see through your work with Sunnybranch how your net worth is changing and how the decisions that we're making together are growing your wealth. Also, in the first quarter of the year, I help my clients build a spending and giving distribution plan. If clients have inherited IRAs, if clients are taking RMDs, if clients rely on their portfolio for cash flow, then we are building a plan at the beginning of the year that will then be implemented throughout the whole year. A plan that takes into account, what are we going to do if the market crashes? What are the triggers that I need to be watching for throughout the year? What are we going to do now? What are we going to take in the middle of the year? And what are we going to take at the end of the year? You're not waiting to take that inherited IRA withdrawal or that RMD or whatever it is until December. You know what your plan for distributions is at the beginning of the year, and then we modify that plan as necessary throughout the year. The last piece that I offer at the beginning of the year is saving and expense goal setting. I work with a lot of Sunnybranch clients, not on budgeting, but on tracking, on understanding where their money is going and seeing if they want to make any changes to that. Generally, I don't work with budgeting on my clients. My clients don't need to budget. But what they might need to do is realign their spending with their values, or they might need to direct more of their income to savings. And so we focus on setting those spending and saving targets, tracking them throughout the year with progress updates as needed. In the spring and summer, the tax planning piece really kicks up. We have 5 to 6 months of data. We have more information on how much you owed in the prior tax year, and we start building out your preliminary tax analysis based on the information that we already have for what's happened in the year and also what is coming next. This mid-year tax planning piece is huge because a lot of life happens between January and December. And if you wait to do any tax planning until December, you end up crunched, and you often have fewer options than if someone is keeping their eye on the tax piece for you throughout the entire year. Also in the summer, I offer my clients an impact investing deep dive. This is where I give all of my clients their impact investing report that shows how their portfolio compared to a traditional basket of stocks in terms of the type of impact created. What does your fossil fuel exposure look like? What does your exposure to private prisons look like? What does your exposure to gender diversity look like? Across the board, there are tons of different categories that this report captures, but it's a real concrete way for you to see the impact that your portfolio is having. In the middle of the year, we also update financial plans, check in on financial goals, and see if there are any questions that are on your mind that haven't been brought up to me. This is a really flexible deliverable because some people are going to really want that update and have a lot to talk about, and other people are just living their lives and don't want to talk to me in the summer, which is obviously totally fine. The last piece in that spring-summer checklist is an estate plan and risk review. I offer this to all of my clients every year. You aren't going to necessarily need to do it every year, but it's a full review of your estate plan, making sure everything is titled the way it should be to align with your estate plan, and also making sure that there isn't anything in your estate plan that has changed that needs to be updated because your documents are old or taxes changed or whatever. The risk review is a full property and casualty insurance review, suggestions to improve your coverage or potentially decrease the cost of those policies, making sure that your credit is frozen, helping you if you need to get a password manager installed, and making sure that you have trusted contact information on file at Schwab and any other places where you bank so that if something were to happen to you, whoever's supposed to be in charge can actually access those accounts. As we move into the end of the year, we're wrapping up our tax conversations. We're doing a full-scale end-of-year tax planning review, communicating with your CPA for any questions to make sure that while we can still do something about your tax picture, we're not leaving anything on the table. We're taking any last IRA distributions, inherited IRAs, or RMDs. We're finalizing other retirement account contributions, your Roth contributions, your backdoor Roth IRAs, whatever it is. We're offering a year-end review if there are any questions you have on the tax planning side or the distribution side. A lot of times the issues that we work through in year end are more complex and they're easier to talk about in a meeting. I don't have a rigid cadence for meetings. Clients are always welcome to schedule. I kind of offer these standard meetings sort of towards the middle and towards the end of the year. And I'd say clients tend to take me up on those end of year meetings most because we have so much to cover. We need to talk about all the distributions, all the cash flow planning, all the end of year goals that need to squeak in under that 12/31 deadline, and also all of the tax planning pieces and any questions that clients have around that. The last piece that often happens at year end, although technically it could really happen at any point throughout the year, is customized giving recommendation. Philanthropic and charitable planning is a huge part of what I do at Sunnybranch, a huge part of who I am, and a huge part of the value that I offer my clients. For clients who are interested, that year-end planning process may include charitable giving recommendations, specific amounts, how to give, but also research into the types of organizations that are interesting, where you might like to give, and more broadly, thinking about building a targeted impact strategy so that you're giving in line with a process and with your values, as opposed to that kind of scattershot giving that a lot of us do that isn't really all that satisfying. If you're interested in learning more about what it looks like to work at Sunnybranch, if you want to have an audit done of everything your financial advisor is providing you and how much they're charging you versus what it would look like if you moved over to Sunnybranch, send me an email, Catherine@sunnybranchwealth.com. You can also find me on Instagram at sunnybranchwealth. I'd love to chat more if you're interested, and if not, I'll plan to catch you again on the next episode of Air Necessities.